Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation with a topic that's really important and often misunderstood. Today, we're going to explore why financial status alone is actually the worst predictor of partnership quality. This might sound surprising, and it's not because money isn't important. It's because we've been conditioned to focus on the wrong variable entirely. And this common mistake is costing women years of their lives with men who may look good on paper, but end up being harmful in practice. You might feel like something's off with that story. You can't quite put your finger on it. And if you've been scrolling through relationship advice, you've probably seen the same mantra repeated everywhere. Marry rich. Don't settle for broke. Financial stability equals a good husband. Today, we're going to unpack why that marry rich mantra is misleading and what really predicts partnership quality. So let's get started. We've been conditioned to accept financial abuse as long as it comes wrapped in luxury. Society often tells us that being controlled in a mansion somehow beats being respected in a modest home. But the truth is, this mindset leads women into emotional bankruptcy, trapping them in what I call golden cages, trading their autonomy for comfort and their freedom for a glamorous lifestyle. And here's the thing, when we think about a partner's treatment of us, we need to look beyond the surface. It's not just about how he'll treat you when you're vulnerable or whether he might weaponize money against you. It's also about whether he sees you as a partner, someone to grow with, or just a possession to be owned. A man's bank account can tell you a lot about his earning capacity, but it tells you nothing about his character. It doesn't reveal his integrity, kindness, or respect. That's a crucial point because financial security can be an illusion, something that feels real, but isn't necessarily a reflection of who he truly is. This is what I call the illusion of financial security. It's easy to be fooled into thinking that money guarantees safety or happiness, but in reality, it's just one piece of a much bigger picture. Let's take a moment to explore a key idea, that our traits like control and generosity are amplified by wealth or scarcity. What does that really mean? Well, think about control first. Whether someone is wealthy or poor, the desire to control can be present. But when you have more resources, more wealth, you also have more power to control situations or people, which can sometimes lead to trapping others or exerting more influence. Now, on the flip side, consider generosity. Money itself doesn't create or destroy character. It's neutral. It simply amplifies what's already there. A generous person who's broke remains generous because that trait is part of who they are. The same goes for control. If someone has a controlling nature, having more money just gives them more means to express that trait. Here's the core truth I want you to take away. Money doesn't create character. It reveals it. Whether you're rich or poor, your core traits show through. Wealth or scarcity just magnifies what's already within you. So, understanding that is crucial because it shifts how we see money, not as a source of change, but as a mirror reflecting who we truly are. And on the other end of the spectrum, financial irresponsibility is its own form of abuse. A man who refuses to work, sabotages his stability, or spends recklessly while you struggle, that's not being supportive. That's parasitism with romantic packaging. It might look like support on the surface, but it's really about control. That's not security, that's control disguised as care. It's financial abuse dressed in designer labels. The modern wealthy abuser doesn't come right out and say, "You can't have money." Instead, he says, "You don't need to worry about that." He keeps the accounts in his name, handles all the investments, and subtly makes you feel incompetent for asking questions. When financial stability becomes financial control, it's a dangerous shift. It's not just about money, it's about power. And that's why understanding these dynamics is so important in recognizing abuse in all its forms. These questions are really about revealing character, not just income. It's important to ask, does he make decisions with you or for you? Is he viewing your partnership as a collaboration or is it more about hierarchy? Because a man making $40,000 who budgets, plans, and contributes what he can is actually far more valuable than someone earning $400,000 but being reckless or feeling entitled. We also want to consider if he takes responsibility at his current capacity level. Does the higher earner ever get to be disrespectful? And does money become a tool or a weapon in conflicts? It's crucial to see if financial differences are weaponized or used against each other. Another key point is how he values things like child-rearing, homemaking, or emotional labor. Does he see those contributions as meaningful, or does he dismiss them because they don't come with a paycheck? Because respecting your non-financial contributions is a vital part of partnership. We also need to look at whether he sees your voice as equal in financial decisions, regardless of who earns more. And does he respect your financial autonomy? Ultimately, forget about just rich versus poor. Instead, ask yourself, what actually predicts the quality of a partnership? Because these questions go straight to the heart of trust, respect, and shared values, things that truly determine a healthy, lasting relationship. Meanwhile, it's important to recognize that women who are struggling financially often romanticize the idea of potential in a partner. They focus on what could be rather than addressing the actual issues at hand. But what's often ignored is a man's refusal to take responsibility for his actions or his situation. Chronic financial instability, especially when driven by laziness or poor choices, isn't something to admire or romanticize. It's not a sign of authenticity or being true to oneself. It's actually immaturity, disguised as being genuine or authentic. Now, when we look at wealthier men who exert control, the issue isn't always about money itself. It's about access. A wealthy man who controls a partner often denies access, whether to resources, opportunities, or emotional support, not because he's broke, but because he's hiding behind complexity. He uses that dependence against her, making her feel she needs him, and society often applauds this image of him as a provider, even if behind the scenes, it's about control and manipulation. And it's crucial to understand that financial abuse doesn't go away with wealth. In fact, it simply becomes more sophisticated and harder to detect. So, what's the hidden pattern wealthy women often whisper about? It's this dynamic of control masked as generosity and the dangerous allure of dependency that can keep women trapped, even when they're surrounded by wealth. Understanding this pattern helps us see beyond the surface and recognize the subtle ways control can manifest, regardless of financial status. Let's talk about respecting shared goals by avoiding recklessness or control. It's really about emotional maturity, being able to balance your own needs with those of your partner, and working together toward common objectives. When we discuss financial responsibility, it's important to understand that it looks different at different stages. For a young man, it might mean budgeting, saving, and planning for growth. But for someone more established, it's about generosity, strategic planning, and managing resources wisely. At any point, financial responsibility also means not sabotaging your shared future through reckless behavior or trying to control everything. It's about being responsible with what you have and respecting the goals you share as a couple. You don't need a man who makes millions to be a good partner. What matters is that he manages what he earns responsibly, plans for growth, and respects your shared goals. Similarly, you don't need status or wealth. What you really want is emotional maturity and financial responsibility. And ultimately, the real equation here is character plus responsibility. It's about who he is at his core and how he handles what he has. These qualities are what truly build a strong, lasting partnership. Real security isn't about money, it's about trust. Trust that he'll respect you, grow with you, and act responsibly, no matter what his income level is. And sometimes, women choose men who are broke but have good hearts, thinking that lickability equals integrity. But that's a mistake. Because if a man refuses to grow or take responsibility, that's not virtue, that's arrested development. Many women also opt for wealthy men with bad character, out of fear of financial instability. And yes, poverty can be traumatic, that fear is valid. But trading your freedom for luxury isn't real safety. It's just a more refined form of insecurity. So, what women need to relearn about security is that it's not about material wealth. It's about the qualities that build a strong, trustworthy partnership. So here's an important point to consider. If a man believes that money equals authority, it can turn every disagreement into a power struggle. And that's true whether you're arguing over something simple like groceries or more complex issues like investment properties. Now ask yourself, does he see shared money as ours or mine? This distinction really reveals his mindset about partnership and trust. Next, pay attention to whether he values your input or dismisses it altogether. A healthy partner invites collaboration, not unilateral decision-making. Also, observe how he talks about money. Does he speak openly and respectfully, or is there secrecy and defensiveness? And consider how he behaves when he's under financial stress. Does he become more controlling, or does he handle it responsibly? When you're evaluating a partner, don't just look at net worth. That's superficial. Instead, focus on these character tests that truly reveal who he is. Because at the end of the day, these behaviors never lie. They give you a clearer picture of what kind of partner you're really dealing with. A man with genuine partnership character is someone who can build with you from any starting point. He respects your voice and values your input, understanding that a true partnership is a two-way street. He sees money not as a tool for control or greed, but as a shared resource that can be used to grow together. He treats you like a partner, not just an accessory or someone to support his ambitions. It's important to remember that neither love alone nor good intentions are enough to grow a lasting, meaningful relationship. The wealthiest man, even if he has bad character, can make you miserable in luxury, because material wealth can't fix underlying issues. Conversely, the poorest man with bad character can make you miserable even in poverty. The key takeaway here is that character truly matters, more than wealth or status. This is the truth that changes everything. When you understand that genuine, healthy partnerships are built on character, you realize that no amount of external success can compensate for internal integrity. That's the foundation for true, lasting fulfillment.